Have you ever wondered how one moment of kindness can transform an entire life? Stay with me until the end, because this story will touch your heart, and remind you that hope can appear when you least expect it. If this inspires you, don't forget to click like and subscribe for more stories that prove humanity is still alive. It was nearly midnight when Ethan Cole, the CEO of Cole Dynamics, drove past the old bus station on Maple Avenue. His chauffeur had slowed the car because of a detour, and Ethan, exhausted from another board meeting, rubbed his eyes as the headlights swept across the cracked sidewalk. That's when he saw her. A tiny figure curled up on a battered duffel bag, her knees pulled to her chest as she shivered under a thin pink blanket. Even from the car, Ethan could see how frail she looked. The girl couldn't have been more than 8 or 9 years old. She pressed her face against her arm, hiding from the cold and the world. For a moment, Ethan thought perhaps her parents were nearby. But the bus station was deserted, just flickering neon letters and the wind rustling candy wrappers across the pavement. "Stop the car," Ethan said quietly. The driver hesitated. "Sir, it's late." "Stop the car." Ethan stepped out into the chill night air. He approached slowly, not wanting to frighten her. But the girl must have sensed someone coming, because she lifted her head. Their eyes met, and he saw a look he would never forget. Hunger. Fear. And something deeper, a fragile hope that someone, anyone, might care. "Hi," he said, his voice gentle. "My name is Ethan. Are you okay?" She hugged her blanket tighter but didn't answer. Up close, he could see her cheeks were streaked with tears and dirt. Her shoes were too small, the soles worn almost through. "Where's your family?" he asked softly. She shook her head. A single tear slipped down her cheek. Ethan swallowed, feeling something crack inside his chest. He was a man who could close multi-million-dollar deals with a handshake, but standing in front of this shivering child, he felt completely powerless. He reached into his coat pocket and offered her a granola bar he'd grabbed from the office earlier that evening. She looked at it suspiciously at first, but hunger won out. She took it, murmured a quiet "thank you," and began to eat in tiny bites. "My name is Lily," she finally whispered. "Lily," he repeated softly. "How long have you been here?" 3 days, she said. Her voice was so thin he almost didn't hear her. "I don't want to go back." "Go back where?" She only shook her head again. Ethan knew he couldn't force her to talk, but he also couldn't just drive away. He pulled out his phone, calling a friend who ran a youth shelter nearby. But as he waited for someone to pick up, Lily's eyes fluttered closed, exhausted beyond fear. She leaned against the cold metal bench and fell asleep, still clutching the empty granola wrapper. He didn't leave her side until the shelter van arrived an hour later. As they gently lifted Lily inside, Ethan's heart ached. He didn't know why she was alone or what she was running from, but he knew this wasn't the end of her story. He would make sure of it. The next morning, Ethan couldn't concentrate on anything. The quarterly earnings report sat untouched on his desk. Instead, his thoughts kept drifting back to a little girl with sad eyes and no shoes. Finally, he pushed the papers aside and picked up the phone. "Jessica," he said to his assistant, "clear my schedule this afternoon. I'm going to the Haven shelter." When he arrived, Lily was sitting in a corner of the playroom, hugging her knees. She looked up when he entered, and something in her expression shifted. Relief. Maybe even trust. He sat down beside her, carefully keeping his distance so she wouldn't feel cornered. "Hey," he said softly. "I wanted to see how you were doing." She didn't answer at first, but then she reached into her pocket and held out the granola bar wrapper. "You gave me this," she whispered. "I did. Thank you." Her voice cracked on the last word. And that was when she finally told him her story. Her mother had died 2 years earlier. Since then, Lily had been passed between relatives who didn't want her. A week ago, her uncle's girlfriend had told her she was nothing but a burden, and left her outside when they moved apartments. Lily had tried to wait, thinking they'd come back. But no one ever did. Ethan listened without interrupting, each word sinking deeper into his heart. He thought of his own daughter, who had everything money could buy, and realized that Lily had nothing except her courage. When she finished, she looked down at her hands. "I'm sorry," she said. "For what?" "For being here." He closed his eyes, fighting the lump in his throat. "Lily," he said quietly, "you never have to be sorry for existing." And then he did something that surprised even himself. He reached out his hand. "Come with me," he said. It wasn't easy. Nothing about it was easy. The lawyers had questions. The courts had questions. Even his own board of directors raised their eyebrows when they learned the CEO wanted to foster a homeless child he'd met at a bus stop. But Ethan didn't care. Over the next weeks, he visited Lily every day. He brought books, warm clothes, little things she had never owned. He made sure she knew he wasn't going to disappear. Slowly, she began to smile. On the day she moved into his house, she walked through the front door clutching a small stuffed rabbit. Ethan had bought it for her because she'd told him she used to have one just like it before her mother died. He showed her to her new room, painted pale yellow, with a soft bed and shelves of books, and she stared in disbelief. "This is all mine," she whispered. "It's all yours," he said. Her eyes filled with tears. "Thank you." He knelt beside her, gently brushing a strand of hair from her face. "You deserve this, Lily," he told her. "You deserve to be safe and loved." Months passed. Lily began school, and Ethan learned how to braid hair and help with spelling homework. He discovered he could feel more joy tucking her in at night than he had ever felt signing a contract. One evening, as they sat watching the sunset from the porch, Lily leaned against him. "Ethan?" "Yes?" "I think my mom would be happy," she said softly. He swallowed hard. "I think so too," he whispered. "If you're still here, thank you for watching this story all the way to the end. Let it remind you that even in a world that can feel so cold and indifferent, one act of kindness, a single moment when someone says "come with me," can change a life forever. If this touched your heart, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs to believe in second chances. Because sometimes, the smallest light is enough to guide someone home.